This is Shed to Ed, episode 4, Makhachev versus Green, Fight Night 202. And last week we broke even. We went 4-2. Both of us had 2 missed picks. What do you got to say about that there, Steve-O?
It was a pretty standard week for us there, so we hit on most of them. Hit on all of our early picks that we took, and missed on some late ones that we weren't sure of there. So,
yeah, we went flawless our first 3 picks each, and then things got a bit uneven.
Yeah, that's the confidence when it starts to fall apart after your first few picks.
And, you know, we had a mixed bag of results. We had I thought she didn't have ground game, but it turns out she does. Of course, I'm referring to Stephanie Egger, who got the submission early in that fight. Jessie just tried to make the clinch happen, tried to make the takedown happen, got taken down, got submitted. That was not the narrative. The narrative crumbled before our eyes for that fight.
Yeah, so she wasn't supposed to have some, but it turns out she had too much there. So I thought it was going to be a good test for her. Turns out that was right.
And we saw Jim Miller, the other mispick. He just turned back the clock, man. Jim Miller got that big finish. It was the biggest experience gap in company history. Jim was on his 38th fight, and Mata had never fought in the UFC before.
Wow.
Now, my late hit was David Onama, and oh my God, talk about a hit. That man closed that fight with a statement.
Yeah, that was a crazy finish there. Like, just absolute brutality, pretty much, man. I guess we'll talk about the main there.
Yeah, what about that main event? Mr. Johnny Walker, your mispick, my friend.
Johnny Walker. Yeah, well, I wasn't sure. That's why it was the last pick. I wasn't sure what to be at with that one. That was why it was my last pick. I knew Jamal Hill could come in and KO him. I knew that. I said it, and I still took Johnny Walker, and I'm paying for it.
That's it, man. Overall, we got a new week to look forward to. We got this new main event. Beneil Dariush hurt his ankle. Bobby Green said, you know what? I'll fight. And now we got Islam Makhachev and Bobby Green. And we're not taking this bet because it's minus 700 for Islam. Just not a fair pick. Instant first-round pick. But we're taking that bet. It goes over under 1.5 rounds. Now, you took this fight long. Any reason that you wanted to take this fight over 1.5 rounds?
Well, we seen Bobby 2 weeks ago, was it?
Yeah, it was a quick turnaround for Bobby. It was just a few weeks ago we saw him in the ring, and he won his fight.
Yeah, and he put on a performance there. Like, he looked really good. He was putting on he was bringing his swagger. He was putting on the show. He was bringing his showmanship. He was making it entertaining. And I think I took it long because I think he's going to do the same thing. He might eat some shots. He has his classic boxer stance there with his arms down. He's goading them into throwing punches, and he's throwing counters. And he just plans to box. The fight went long last time. I expected it to go long because it's just going to be a boxing match for
I think that
I don't know how long it's going to last because it's going to be a 5-rounder. Is that right?
It is a 5-rounder, and I think the other data point is Bobby was on a 5-year decision streak, so Bobby knows how to stay in the ring. He's got a lot of fight time racked up, a lot of experience guiding him through the ring this time.
Yeah, definitely proves his chin is worthy too.
Definitely, he can take a couple shots. Now, let's jump in to this week's card. Not a lot of star power. They're saving it all. We got a big pay-per-view coming up. We can get to that later, but let's look at these early prelims. We got Carlos Hernandez, Altamirano. Not a lot of stuff I like with this early card. You know, maybe just there might be some entertaining fights, but just not a lot of intrigue for me to take a look at betting-wise. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at a flyweight, Victor Altamirano versus Carlos Hernandez, 2 guys coming out of Dana White Contender Series. They're pretty new guys, pretty fresh. But when you watch these guys, I think they're going to really be swinging for the KOs there. I think they're just going to be coming out giving it. They got big chins. I watched 2 of their fights go long, studying up for the card here. I watched 2 of the guys get taken down very easily, but I don't think that they're going to want to take each other down. I think they're just going to want to stand up and just swing the whole 15 minutes.
It's interesting you mentioned they're both off a Contender Series, so they're probably on a smaller contract, maybe 10 to show, 10 to win. So if they can pick up a $50,000 bonus, that's a big check for them, right?
That's true. And when you watch these fights, they're pretty entertaining there. You know, they can throw some big shots and they can land them on the chin all the time, but where they're fighting at 125, they're still standing afterwards. It's great.
Yeah, I like flyweight, and it's going to be the first fight of the night. So usually they put something intriguing at the very beginning of that card to get you to tune in and check that out.
Yeah, let's get it going.
Now we got Terrence McKinney coming off that 7-second KO. You know, he's in a pick'em bout with Faraz Ziam. They both only got 6 or less fights in the UFC, so still trying to establish themselves in that lightweight division. First pick overall this week, I took Josiane Nunes. She's on a little bit of a stoppage streak, and Ramona Pascual doesn't have a lot of experience, and it's women's featherweight, 145 pounds. This could be interesting. You know, that 145-pound division doesn't get a lot of activity. So this is the first 145 fight in a while, and we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, and it's always great to see a lot of action in these ones. If Nunez is on a stoppage streak, hopefully we get some violence in this fight too.
Moving onward, we got Jian Kim and Priscilla Cachoeira. They don't really have great records. You know, this was a tricky one for me to bet. You know, Jian Kim, one of her decisions was a split, so it could have gone either way. She's got that TKO win over Nadia Qasim. Nadia went for the fake glove touch, and she got punished for it. I took Jian Kim a bit later in the draft. Hopefully she gets it done. We have the co-main and the main event. Now, who would have thought Wellington Turman would find himself in that co-main slot after a split decision win over Sam Alvey? But here he is.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing with Misha Serkinov. I mean, he just lost. Was it a split decision his last fight? And
that is correct.
This guy hasn't even won since 2019, I don't think. If you look back, he took a big break over the pandemic, and he lost his last comeback fight last year, and now he is co-main.
Yeah, and before that, he had a round 1 TKO loss. You know, if he was training, if he was ready, we don't get to see that as an audience. If someone goes down that quick in the fight, we just see someone else's highlight reel get another notch in the belt, right?
Yeah, well, hopefully he's ready now. Knocked some rust off last fight.
Wellington Turman, before that fight with Alvey, he had 2 round 1 losses by KO. So we didn't get to see much out of him either. You know, these guys might get to actually show their skills off for a bit here, get a chance to right the ship, as it were, and start to get a couple of wins behind him. If Serkinov gets this win, he's a bit later in his career. He might get a couple more wins under his belt. If Turman loses this fight, this could be bad for his career. He's still young. Serkinov and Turman don't have a great record in their last few fights, so we're going to see if one of these guys can pull out a win and move forward. If this one goes to draw or DQ, this is just a mess for these guys. Then we got Makhachev Green. The odds are blown out. That's why we're taking the 1.5 rounds, keep it a bit more competitive. And I don't know, man. We got Makhachev at number 4 in the division. Bobby Green has his place in the lightweight division. I don't know if it's going to be in that top 5.
When I was looking at it too, I mean, after seeing Bobby Green, what he did a couple of weeks ago, maybe the guy's exhausted from fighting 3 rounds. You know, he could very well could be, but I think he's got a lot of talent. It could be a great upset. And
it would be a great upset. It would be one of the biggest upsets in the sport.
It's good odds to take Bobby Green here at plus 600. I mean,
it's fun. It's you know, 6-1.
Yeah, it'd pay out. Everybody loves a big underdog. So that's why Bobby Green is Smelly's pick of the week.
Smelly with the plus 600 pick. Now, if you can get your bookie to give you that plus 600, sure. But here on the draft, Makhachev all day.
Yeah, not even an option.
Not even an option. Now, let's talk about our draft. Let's get into that draft. Right away, Gilmore Brahimaj, top of the card. One of these guys is a last-minute fill-in. Brahimaj is the replacement, and he's got that. You don't see that a lot. Sometimes you see the guy who's coming in, like we're seeing with Bobby Green and Makhachev. But now Brahimaj is the replacement, and he's a heavy, heavy favorite.
I'm kind of surprised to see that too. If the guy hasn't been in camp and isn't ready for the big weight cut or anything like that. So looking at all the odds here, there's a lot of ones that we will take early, a lot of ones that we won't. Like I was kind of going to avoid different guys like Perez. I thought Perez was going to be good as a strong underdog, so I wasn't going to take Martinez earlier. I was also looking at a guy like Joel Alvarez. He was another smelly pick. He was pretty high on Joel Alvarez to get a win this week. Looking through, there was a lot of dogs there. Wellington Turman and Victor Altamirano. They all got good chances at everything too. Terrence McKinney coming off the 7-second KO. A lot of good, interesting dogs this week.
Yeah, you know, good point. I looked at the first couple of fights on that card, and I looked at their past wins, and there are some interesting matchups, which is why I didn't take the heaviest favorite or the second heaviest favorite this week. Josiane Nunes coming in with my first pick of the week. Coming off a lot of wins. She's got a lot of momentum behind her. And Pascual, I believe this is her UFC debut, if not her first, second, third fight in the UFC.
Right. My first pick was the heavy favorite there. I was just going to check in on Brahimaj. And if he was good to go, he was good to go. So I checked in with my consultant, Smelly, and he said he was going to go. He said he was a lock this week. So first pick.
Smelly seal of approval. You love to see that here on Shed to Ed. Next up, I went with Bahamondes. Skip the Alvarez Saryukian. Like you said, Alvarez looking like a live dog here at 2.6.
Yeah, so I just continued on there. I was looking at Gregory Rodriguez. I thought that he was going to take it. I wasn't comfortable taking, say, guys like Martinez or Saryukin, where I liked guys like Perez and Alvarez. So I just kind of reached down a little bit, and I found Rodriguez there, and I liked him at these odds.
I grabbed Saryukian. He's a solid fighter. He's got some wins. Take him for my next round in the pick.
Yeah, so I was digging further down. I wasn't sure about the main event there either. So I just kind of skipped over that. I took Ziam. I was okay with that. Terrence McKinney's hit or miss big time. So I just figured I'd go with Ziam, the comfortable pick here.
Definitely an element of comfortable pick versus hit or miss. I went Jian Kim. It's really hard to judge a fighter by their losses. It's a lot easier to look at their win and see them shine and demonstrate some skill. But what do you read from a loss? And that's kind of the situation I found myself in with this one. You know, it's my fourth pick. Fourth is always a bit tricky. You know, you start to get on that button a bit. You start to eye both sides a bit more carefully after the first 3 rounds of betting.
Yeah, a lot of tempting dogs here for me.
Definitely tempting dogs indeed.
Yeah, but instead of that, I just came back and took Bobby Green long. I mean, he doesn't have to go the 5 rounds. He doesn't have to go 4.
You just need 8 minutes. You just need 8 minutes.
You don't even need to go the full 2. I mean, I can give the guy 7.5 minutes. I don't know much about Bobby Green's takedown and grappling skills. He's more of a boxing kind of guy. Will Islam take him down and just kind of wear him out on the mat? And if so, will it take longer than 8 minutes?
Yeah, at worst case scenario, he does get taken down, and he's got enough gas in the tank to keep Islam off of his arms and his neck for 8 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Moving onward, I took Carlos Hernandez. I was just very iffy. This was a pick 'em. I just took the safer side of pick 'em. Next up, you took Serkinov in this one. What kind of made you pick Serkinov?
So I was watching these guys. I watched a little bit of Turman. I watched a little bit of Serkinov. I wasn't super impressed. Serkinov coming off a big break, losing split decision last time. But I think he knocks some rust off. I think he is going to come out fresh and ready for this fight. And I think he's going to take out Turman, who hasn't had a lot of great show of, say, competition in front of him. So I think Serkinov is just going to work him out and take him out.
Definitely a step up in experience.
But what I was mostly looking at there is on Shed to Ed since we've started. This is episode 4. Canadians have gone 5-1 straight up, and Serkinov is the only Canadian on the card this week, I believe.
Do we have any Eds hiding out in the stacks here?
No secret Eds this week. Nobody with the ED just hidden anywhere in their name there. No secret Eds.
Again, we made it to the end. We left one fight with the lopsided odds till the end. I had to take Martinez.
I mean, watching him, I think Martinez could take that one pretty easily. When I was watching a guy like Perez, like he's coming in and he's kind of like a bigger guy than you expect him to be. He's kind of a sturdy guy, but I think when they collide and they're going to be trading blows, I think Perez is very easily the stronger fighter. And I think he could take it a lot more, but I think Martinez just has a bit more accuracy there. I think he can knock him with a precision strike there when they're trading blows. This one could go either way for me. That's kind of why I stayed away from it. 50-50 for me.
I think the odds were just a bit tweaked because of the last minute. We see sometimes, even in both ways, Makhachev is a favorite and Brahimaj is a heavy favorite. The odds can definitely get swayed just because of the late addition component. That's a wild card to try to weigh in here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even know about that, so I should have known.
What fight are you looking forward to seeing this week?
Bobby Green. I'm just kind of excited to see what Bobby Green does. Just watching his fight a few weeks ago, he got really into it, put on a performance, and that's what I want to see. I want to see a show for the main event, and Bobby Green's going to do it. Even if he loses, he's still going to be entertaining. I believe in him. Because
you took that over, I'm going to pray for a bit of entertainment too. We get that quick finish. That's an easy win for me.
Yeah, let me watch him for at least 8 minutes there, please.
I hope Jian Kim takes it.
Jian Kim, yeah?
I hope Jian Kim takes that win.
So this one's at 125, is it?
It's at 125.
Yeah, okay.
What else am I looking forward to? I'm going to be frank with you. I'm looking forward to the pay-per-view next week because there's not a lot of fights that intrigue me on this card. I'm going to be very frank with you.
Yeah, that's true. Looking forward to next week.
And what do we have? We got Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal, both coming off losses to Kamaru Usman. So we get the sloppy seconds fight. Two guys that lose to the champ. Which one gets to keep his little spot in the top 5?
Yeah, that should be a good one. I think it's going to be a great fight. Very entertaining.
And let's not forget, we're going to get that RDA versus Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev has his visa. He will be in the U.S. I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. It's going to be a heavy card, and I'm looking forward to covering that next week on episode 5 of Shed to Ed, UFC 272.
All right, well, I'll see you there. And I'll keep the name Shed to Ed when I win this week again.
Again, you're still up $30, so you're riding high. I'm sure you're feeling great. Even when we break even, that must feel like a victory on your end.
Yeah, honestly, I know that you have vastly outranked me in UFC knowledge there. So just breaking even any week just means I'm keeping up. I'm doing great.
I'll see you next week on Shed to Ed.
See you then.